All right, everybody. This is episode number 248 of the Golf Podcast. And we're going to talk about a topic that's something that I've really enjoyed this aspect of the game, because I think it's a challenge for everybody. But we're going to talk about how to stop negativity from holding your golf game back. There's just anybody who knows a golfer knows somebody who beats up on themselves. And we all do it. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about how to get around it because I think it can also be one of those mental hurdles and roadblocks that we put in the way of ourselves really doing better in this game. So I'm looking forward to that. As always, we got Mike here with me. Mike, what's going on?
Hey man, long time no speak, right?
Right, I know.
Good to catch up today with you. A quick lunch meeting. It was cold out there, but hey, I wanted to ask you because I was going to ask you today, when is the last time you actually put in a full swing? Was it the What's in the Bag when we filmed that?
That is so funny that you say that because I was thinking that right before we came on and I was saying, I think it's actually been probably 3 weeks since I've hit a golf ball. And part of that's intentional. Part of it is because the fact that it's freezing out here.
Right.
But, when we worked with Kevin Sprecher recently, remember he told me he wants me just to work on a lot of motions. So I'll talk about that in a second because I want to kind of fill you guys in. I've been doing my 5-minute sessions 3 times a day and I do find it's helping. So I'm looking forward to chatting about that.
Yeah, absolutely, because I've been doing it as well. So I'm curious to see how that kind of transitions into next year. But before we go any further, I wanted to also apologize. There was a lot of, chatter about my mic on last week's episode. It was a little crackly, but we fixed it. Of course, after 248 episodes, something went wrong there, but hopefully we are back to normal here. So I apologize for that, Frank. I got to put it out there.
Hey, look, and we're always trying to make it better. We've made some different setups to our equipment. We're going to be doing some more adjustments. We've got a big episode coming up for you guys soon, 250.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be doing that one in a different setup. We're going to be videoing that one a little bit differently. So we're always trying to make it better, but along the way, we're going to get some hurdles. So no harm, no foul, right?
Just like your golf game, right? So, hey, let's just do a quick word from our sponsor before we dive into tonight's topic. So tonight, this episode is sponsored by ShotScope. Guys, we're not playing much, like we just said. It's cold, but we're going to be back out there in Orlando next month. I think we've got like 3 or 4 rounds set up. So we're going to come back strong in 2019 with the stat segment. Now a lot of you guys are actually buying the ShotScope. Thank you. I mean, you're going to love it. In the group, Frank, a lot of people are buying it. So I'm excited to see that leaderboard is going to be blowing up. So 2019 is going to be huge for us for the stat segment.
Yeah. And that is our intention. We don't want to just talk about ourselves in the stat segment. We're going to highlight a lot of you guys, and we're going to do that through the ShotScope leaderboard. Additionally, it makes an awesome holiday gift if you want to put it on your own Christmas list or holiday list or whatever, or if you've got another golfer in your life, this is the time to get it. I have never seen a better price for a unit like this. They've got it for $189. A couple of you had commented on our recent What's in the Bag videos about, because we had used the ShotScope to pick apart certain parts of our stat. And I said, I commented right back and said, if you're thinking about getting one, now's the time to do it. It's $189. You just go to shotscope.com/Golficity or use coupon code Golficity to get that $60 discount. Trust me, guys, that thing is not going to last. So now's the time to jump in and get it. Okay. So just before we get into this topic about negativity, I just find this to be such an interesting thing. And this is something that I know, Mike, you're a really positive guy too. Both of us try to err on that side of things, just generally in life. And I think that, you'll probably agree with me in general, like negativity, it's just something even outside of the golf course. I think it's a poison. I try to get it out of my life as many ways as possible. I'm a true believer that, a lot of the things that come into your life are manifested through what you think and the way you approach things. So I try to be positive with things, and I find that it really does help. But there's just something about the culture with golf that just, maybe it's how challenging it is, whatever it may be, it just leads to a lot of negativity. And I think if I can kind of give you guys one tip that's really worked and really helped me. It's a change of mindset. And that has just been, if you can really shift your mindset from attaching the reward side of the game, remove that from always trying to lock it in with a certain score or a certain number that you want to hit, and instead make the enjoyment the chase and the pursuit. I think that simple mind shift is going to be dramatic for how much you actually enjoy the game. Because if you think about it, and it is so true, we hear it said a lot, this game cannot be mastered. Even at the highest level. I mean, look, Tiger Woods is still out there hungry chasing after another major. There's always going to be something. That something could be breaking 100 for the first time, which we talked about in the last episode. It could be breaking 90, 80, whatever it may be. You're always going to be chasing, because even when you get there, it's going to be, let's say you do break 80 for the first time and you're in the 70s. This game ebbs and flows. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes through slumps. Everyone goes through ups and downs. Now you're going to have a couple rounds where you're back up in the 80s or 90s or whatever it may be. So there's always going to be that. And instead of always focusing and putting all of your, I guess, putting all of your energy and attention on just like meeting certain markers, if you just put it on just that chase in general and the beauty of the difficulty of the game, I think that simple mindset will go a long way for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I got so negative on my golf game right after we switched to the Titleist clubs because I wasn't getting used to them quick enough. Like I had a bunch of bad rounds out of the gate and I wasn't giving myself time, and I was blaming it on, was the change the right thing for me? Maybe I'll go back to what I was playing. And then I just kind of stuck with it, and I was seeking some guidance. I even reached out to Sprecher at one point, and I was asking me, stick with it, learn it, and, just be positive about it, and be positive that you're going to improve and get better as a result of these clubs that now fit your game. And I think it was like 1 round later, I went out and fired like the best round of my life,
Yeah.
and then it just continued on. So, I mean, there's a lot of, those speed bumps or those negative speed bumps that do pop up in golf and in life, right?
Yeah. And sometimes that's all it takes is one or two things to kick us back into it. But I think it becomes a lot easier to make your way through those speed bumps if you have that mindset shift where you just think about, like I said, the chase being the fun part. If you can make that little change, I think it just changes your whole outlook. Everything just becomes much more of a reward. If you can enjoy the process more than the ends. And I had the same type of thing especially when I played this game younger, I would be, in a great mood when I shot a good round and in a terrible mood when I didn't. And now I just kind of like, no matter how I play out there, I'm just kind of thinking, there's these short-term roller coaster ride, but over the long term, as long as you're enjoying the game and you're improving, that's all that matters. And I think that really kind of changes things for you. So fall in love with the process, fall in love with the challenge. Cause again, like we said before, if this game wasn't challenging, what fun would it be?
Right.
You're never going to master it. So as long as you're always chasing the impossible, you're always going to be frustrated. So, but we have more tips, and we're going to talk about more ways, to kind of like get that negativity out. But before we do, let's highlight a couple other things. And the first one, Mike, I want to highlight.
Yes.
And this is special thanks to everyone out there who tunes into this podcast every week. We hit a little milestone for ourselves. First time that I've ever seen that we hit the number 1 spot on iTunes under amateur sports section, which exactly that all goes right back to you guys. For everybody who subscribes to the show, everybody who listens to the show, that's where those numbers come from. iTunes rank is based on, I believe it's on downloads and subscribers, and it ebbs and flows on a day-to-day basis. But for at least for one day this week, we were in the top spot, and I've seen us jump around. I think we got up to number 3 once before, and we're usually hovering in that top 15 or so. But then when one day I just was in there and saw it, and we were number 1. That was a feel good day.
Yeah, we had a good celebration day for that, for sure. That was great.
That was a lot of fun. And then we chatted about it a little bit in the Facebook group. So thank you to everybody out there who helped make that happen for us, because that really, that's a real motivator for us. That really felt great. As we're listening to this, we've got about what, Mike, 3 days left in the Vessel Bag giveaway?
Yeah. December 12th.
Yes. So there's still time to get into that. Way you guys can do that, just check out the unboxing video on YouTube. And how are we going to be announcing that winner?
Yeah, so we're going to announce the winner live on December 15th. It's Friday on our live stream that we're doing on YouTube. So this is exciting because we're doing our first YouTube live stream that day. We're going to announce not only the winner of the Vessel Bag giveaway, but we're going to announce a couple of other big things that we've been keeping hush-hush about Golficity in 2019.
Yes.
So I'm excited for that.
Yes. And although the golf season may be quieting down right now, there's no PGA Tour golf. There's a little bit of European Tour golf left right now, but it's too cold for us to get out there and play. It's a perfect time for us to kind of do a couple things, talk about what we're going to be having going on in 2019 because we're lining up all types of things, but also taking a look back. So that's going to be fun too. Another thing we're going to be doing in the 250th episode is we're going to be taking a highlight and getting, looking back at all the stuff that happened in 2018 because 2018, there's no denying it. I mean, it was a banner year for us. And what we're going to be having a little fun with it. That's why you and I got together for a lunch meeting today.
Yep.
I was just trying to jot it down and just put it all on paper of like what we did this year. I mean, how about this? I mean, we launched the app this year. We got the, full bag fittings. We traveled a bunch. We were down there in Orlando for the PGA show. We kicked it off strong with that. So much to talk about. So stay tuned for that for sure. And speaking of the bag, you dropped your What's in the Bag video about a week ago, and then mine just came out a couple days ago. Those have been fun.
Those have been great. And I love the feedback, the comments, everyone sharing their lineups. A lot of people have asked, they sent us messages, we'd love to see, everything in one spot, being that we've gone through so much and they've been following the channels. So it was kind of cool to give that back, to show what we're playing with, the balls we're playing with, what's inside the bag, from the nourishment we have out there, from the gadgets like the shot scope, things like that. So real fun. Those are up and they're getting a ton of love.
Yeah,
couldn't be more thankful.
Everybody loves a good What's in the Bag.
Of course.
So, and we'll be highlighting more equipment, in 2019. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of new stuff when we hit demo day at the PGA show. So we'll bring as much of that to you guys as we can. We're going to be recording a bunch of videos and podcasts while we're down there. We've got a lot of equipment to lug down to Florida with us. But we're also going to be doing a lot of the impromptu stuff on the stories on our Instagram and Snapchat channels. So make sure you guys follow Golficity there. Speaking of Instagram, and speaking of recap, today we dropped that fun little 60-second video recap of some of the best of the vlogs. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a little teaser for what's to come for the 250, for our best of that we're going to be giving you guys. And I'm not going to tell you anything about what's going to be in that video, but you're going to want to see this one because if you're new to the channel, especially the YouTube channel and maybe even the podcast, there's a lot of things that we've done this year that you guys don't know about or haven't seen, and they were just so epic. Going all the way back to, I'll just give you one, Bay Hill when we played in the Pro-Am, one of the main highlights of this year. So we're going to put together a cool compilation video, maybe some bloopers. We could find some good ones and maybe some fun other stuff in that video. And I'm thinking maybe more towards the very end of the year, maybe like a New Year's Eve type of release on that to kind of give you something to end the year with.
I like that. And we're coming up real quick on YouTube too. Of 10,000 subscribers. When we hit that, we're going to have another huge
Let's
giveaway.
do something big for that. Sure.
We're going to do something big for that. All right. So we've got a lot to talk about with this topic about getting that negativity out because again, not only will it improve your game from a mental side, but I'm telling you, your enjoyment will go up if you can just kind of like focus on this. But what do you say we do a quick word from our sponsor first, Mike?
Yeah, let's do it. So this episode is sponsored by Titleist. All right, you've seen the What's in the Bag. You've seen the lineup, folks. So from the TS driver through the AP3s and, of course, through the Vokies. Next season, Frank, it's our first full season with these new Titleist clubs and balls. And with those 281s that I carded at the end of the season, I mean, there's no telling when that first 7 handle is coming for me, man.
I have a feeling it's coming soon. And I hope I'm there when you break it because, it's going to be something else, but make sure you guys get out there, try out the new TS drivers and fairway woods. You can try them out free at any Titleist fitting center, local golf store, Titleist Thursdays, a lot of ways you can do it. And give yourself the gift of distance and forgiveness this holiday season. Like I said, I have seen a lot of reviews from many different sources on the TS, and I have not seen one bad word about it. It seems that Titleist really hit the nail on the head with this one. So visit Titleist.com to learn more about the TS line and the 4 awesome stock shafts that come with them. You guys will not regret hitting this thing, that's for sure. Mike, also, while we had our little lunch meeting today, I noticed you were rocking that Peter Millar Perth pullover.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised. It was cold today, 35 degrees, and you had that pullover on.
Dude, warm, man. Warm. That's all I can say. I mean, those guys aren't kidding when they say it fits like second skin. I mean, I wear this thing on the course on days like today. I wear
And
it in the
it's so
office.
thin,
You never know. It just like moves with you. I even wore it on a date night with my wife last weekend. I wear this thing everywhere. I mean, do yourself a favor, get one. The Perth pullover from Peter Millar. I mean, their apparel is so top notch. It's probably the best apparel gift you could give someone for this holiday season. So check it out. Head over to petermillar.com/golf to get yours. Be sure that you use our link. You'll receive complimentary shipping, and they're even going to throw in a free hat. How cool is that? So Peter Millar, that's MILLAR.com/golf, petermillar.com/golf.
Yeah, you know what I love about this stuff? Not only is it great for like you, but like I said, this is that time when everybody's trying to scramble like for gifts. And you know what?
Right.
Everybody knows a golfer. This is the way to do it. There's just so much great stuff out there. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this, about negativity. And we had an interesting article on Golficity not too long ago, which I will link to in the show notes on this very topic. And what I liked about at least the title of that article was how to stop negativity from holding your golf game back. So that's where too, I mean, everybody's aware of negativity and things like that. But when you realize the effect that it can have on your golf game, I think that's when it kind of shines a light on when you realize you've got to do something about it. And the truth is, it can hurt your golf game. I believe that negative thinking, getting down on yourself, it's all things that can lead to this snowball or compounding effect that you hear us talk about pretty often. And that's where bad thing just seems to lead to another. The frustration builds. As the frustration builds, you get more and more, manic in your approach. You start to get away from, as we talk about strategy and execution, you start to switch your strategy up. You start to panic your execution a little bit. And then before long, you know what it looks like, Mike.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad and it gets out of control. So I think a good part of this is getting to recognize it early, practicing getting away from negative thinking, even off the course, so that you're able to more seamlessly transition from negative to a more of a positive outlook while you're out there. And I think what it's going to lead to is really protecting your confidence. And these are all things we've done previous episodes on. We talked about confidence before, how to build it, how to keep it, because we all know, like, you get out there, around where you're confident is around where you're playing well and you're scoring well. Around where you're not confident, it goes down the tubes pretty quickly. So that's a big thing. And it really comes down to trying to celebrate a little bit more of the good. The truth is, and we talked about this right at the beginning of the show, it just seems to be this weird culture in the game where you see golfers, they're far more likely to talk about something that went wrong rather than to celebrate something that went right. And I wonder sometimes, Mike, if it's, just because we don't want to like seem like we're boasting or bragging, or maybe, we don't want to talk, I've tried to kind of pick this apart in my head and say, why is it that we don't talk that positively about our golf game? And I think, possibly it could be because you want to be more relatable. Like, everyone struggles with golf. That's the reality.
But I feel like everybody can find at least one little nugget of their golf game that can really bring that positive out. I mean, for me, just jumping off the page would be my short game with wedges around the green. I know for me, it's the strongest part of my game. So, I mean, there's things like that, or like when I know that I could stripe a long drive. Yeah. So there's those little bits and pieces that, quote unquote, keep me coming back or make me feel good about my game, good enough where I still love the game and I love that passion to kind of, get to the next level.
Right. And I think that's something that brings us all back. But what I'm wondering is, like, what do you think it is that creates that culture where people, when they start to first talk about their game, it could be just like you meet a new guy at a party and you notice he's a golfer and you start talking to him and you're like, you start talking about, like, sometimes it often goes the bad. Like, you end up it's like a complaint session about your game.
True.
And I wonder if part of it is because we don't want to talk about the good because we don't want it to come off as bragging. It could be that the game is so hard for everyone that it seems relatable if we talk about how our challenge is. Or it could be that, you're a little bit afraid if you talk about the good part of the game that you'd have to back it up if you go out there and play. You almost feel like you're putting pressure. But I think if we can kind of like try to switch to a more supportive, rather than kind of like challenge it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think it can be done. And I try to do it a little bit more. I try to talk about, if nothing else, one thing we can all agree on is just the beauty of the game. We talk about the courses and stuff like that. We tend to talk about that in a very positive way, but we end up talking about our game in a very negative way. And I think part of this is just realizing that, you know, bringing your attention to it and then just realizing, hey, I'm being a little negative here. Let me switch gears a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to try to get away from constantly. I mean, sure, anytime it can be fun to poke fun at yourself a little bit, whatever, or rib each other on the course a little bit. But if you're constantly highlighting your shortcomings, you know, with your game, you're going to start to believe what you're saying. And it's going to become this thing. It's this like self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's what we're going to try to get away from. That's what we're going to try to look into here. Let me take a sip of my water so I don't cough in your face here. Still fighting that cold. All right. So if you're willing to break out of that mold, if you're willing to be a little bit different than everybody else who you hear just bemoaning their game, you'll see that it can really help to turn yourself around. And so our first tip here is, and it can be difficult, especially if you're used to, even in your own mental process, if you're used to beating yourself up out there or playing from like a deficit standpoint, this can be tough to do. It's going to take a little discipline, but try to compliment yourself 18 times per round. And then, well, this kind of goes to like what you were saying, Mike. You could always find something that's going well. This is what we mean by this. So the way we do this, if you can, it may feel funny, it may feel different at first, but if after doing it a while, it'll become more like second nature and it will start to sink in. And the more you start to tell yourself these things, the more you'll start to believe it and your performance will follow that. But what we mean by this 18 times over the course of a round is breaking it down fairly simply. At the end of each hole, just try to think of one thing that you did well. One thing that you can kind of pat yourself on the back with. And this becomes more challenging on the frustrating, difficult holes, you know, when you put up a triple or quadruple bogey. But chances are you can still find something that went well out of those 8 shots, you know, and it might not even be a shot. It might be that you're just happy with a decision you made or part of something felt good. Like maybe you from tee to green, it was a mess, but maybe you had one chip shot that was pretty good and you can build off that. And what we're just trying to do here is just create this discipline of shifting gears from thinking about everything that went wrong and instead thinking about that one thing that went right and using that as a stepping stone to build on. It's very similar when I say like what you think like kind of manifests. It's very similar we talked about before in some of the visualization episodes where if you're thinking on a tee shot is don't hit it in the water, you've got a much greater chance of hitting it in the water than if you think like, you know, aim towards a target and, you know, I'm going to hit it towards, you know, put it in the fairway. So here's where we're just trying to just change it and break out of that cycle of negative thinking.
I have a quick funny story about this. I was playing with a friend and also he's in the golf podcast group. He's very active, Sal. And we played around and, you know, he filmed my swing and I have the video. And he said, and I hit a ball. I smoked this ball. I hit it so far, but I hit it dead left. I was setting up for a cut, but I hit it straight left into the woods. And on the video, I said, well, that's a great sign right there because I just hit the ball dead straight. So right out of the gate, I gave something positive about it.
There you go.
Turns out I went in the woods, looked for my ball for 7 or 8 minutes, realized I had a decent lie, hit it through the trees right out to the top of the green and 2-putted for par.
Wow.
All right. So the positivity of that shot, what I said there, maybe that, you know, kind of carried through all the way to the par. I don't know. You know, you got me thinking about it now.
I would venture to say it would, because think about it the other way. If you were to play it out the other way, if you all of a sudden you got completely frustrated,
bang the driver down,
driver, like head hanging, going into the woods, looking for this thing. Now you see it and you just take a smack shot at it. Just be like, whatever, I'm going to hit it out of here. That's what we see. And we've all seen it happen, you know, where it just that snowball effect where somebody just starts playing bad and then they just start going, the wheels come off. And, I think it's a great example. I've done similar things and you've heard it when we've played together. I hit 1 or 2 shots where I've hit them really well. They fly over the green and over everything. And I say to myself, like, or I even say it out loud, like, I just can't be angry with that. I struck it too well. Right. And then instead I'll learn from it. You know what I mean? I'll be like, okay, whatever I did on that shot, let me decompress it because I had a very clean strike and I hit the ball much further than I normally hit it.
Right.
So that's the thing. But even if it, like I said, if it was a really sloppy hole, there's usually something you can find. And if you can challenge yourself to just think of one good thing at the end of each hole. And again, it just just trains the mind to change into this thought process where you start to think about something good. And then you're able to then take that and build on that momentum. You know, confidence, I think, comes from momentum. Momentum is generated from things like this. So if the very last thought you have, even if you had an 8 on a hole, if the very last thought you have was that you're thinking of that one good thing that happened and you have that thought when you step up to the next tee box, I think your chances of success on that tee shot go up dramatically versus thinking about all the things that went wrong. Anybody, it's very easy to think about the 10 things that went wrong. Sometimes it's a challenge to think about the one thing that went right. But that discipline is where you're able to, you know, thrive.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
So I think that's important. Another thing, and we see this with a lot of amateur golfers, even ourselves, we all do this. It's where we expect too much. And Mike, you do it too. We all do it, right? Monday rounds after watching the PGA Tour all day Sunday, and we're just expecting to play so well.
Of course.
Because you're just watching it and you're chomping the bit, like, oh, I could hit that shot, I could do whatever. But the reality is, are you going to go out there and play as well as the guys you saw on TV? Probably not. But the thing is, that's okay. You know, the only real standard you should hold yourself to is your own. The same goes with if you were to play with golfers who are much better than you. Sometimes that can be a little bit, you know, messy for some other people because of the fact that you go out there and you're trying to play their game. We talked about this in our last episode about playing your own game. Similar type of thing happens here. But the thing we don't always even realize is often with TV, it can be a little bit deceiving because this even happens to the guys on tour. Don't forget, come Sunday afternoon, there's a lot of guys who have not played well and they're not on TV. They're just showing the people who are playing the best at that point. People who are the hottest. They always show the best shots, not the worst shots. That's why we always say we encourage you to go to a PGA Tour event. Of course, these guys are amazing. They're phenomenal the way they play this game, the way they move around the golf course. But there are guys out there who are frustrated. They're not playing well. So don't be unrealistic. And I think a good way to do that is to realize it happens to everybody. And you're not going to go out there and set a new personal best every round. Some rounds, they just don't go the way you hoped. Other rounds, they go beautifully. So if you let a bad round or a bad couple of rounds chip away at your confidence, you're thinking it's going to become negative, and then you're going to find yourself in a longer term slump. We've talked about this before too. We said, don't let one bad hole turn into a bad round turn into a bad month, or a bad month turn into a bad season. It can happen because of the fact that we get so down on ourselves. You gotta stop that spiraling effect. Keep your expectations in check. Work towards your goals, your smaller goals. Like we talk about setting goals like hitting fairways and hitting greens, and get a little bit away from the numbers sometimes. And then just get out there and play it. And you'll see that that's going to help. But as soon as you get that spiral effect, you got to find a way to break it. You got to find a way.
For sure. And then my biggest problem is, getting teamed up or just playing with people just glowing with negativity, right?
Oh, yeah, that's always a tough one. That is a tough one. And sometimes you can help it and sometimes you can't. If you find, and this is even one of our tips, we talk about surround yourself with the right people. That can be just a real way that it can maintain a much more positive attitude on the course. And we're not saying you necessarily need to dump your entire group, your regular golf buddies just because they tend to be negative, but sometimes just explain your position, be like, hey guys, I'm just trying to be a little bit more positive about my game. Maybe, who knows, maybe you can even help turn their game around by just setting a little bit more of a positive culture. And you never know, you may end up getting paired up with somebody that you don't know that day that is just frustrated and complaining about their game the whole time. I think that's where, the art of tuning it out can be like,
right.
Look at a guy like Tiger, who it plays every round, and you've got, people in his ear all the time, shouting, whatever it may be, some of the different things. And even especially when he was going through his rough slump, if he listened to that, how much harder it would be. So being able to be just able to just kind of brush it off. I think that, or more so try to catch yourself, because it could be very easy to slip into that yourself. If you notice that just because the group you're with is being very negative, and then you're just kind of slipping into that pattern and talking the same way, just kind of catch yourself, and you can kind of right the ship as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad I play 80% of my golf with you.
Right. Right.
But those one times where I do get out there with, clients or other friends, and they're those, I mean, we have our mutual friend Pete that, who's not a good golfer, but he likes to have fun just like us out there. And he lets his emotions quickly with lots of curse words and lots of club banging. So, I mean, we all have friends like that.
Yeah.
And, it's funny, but, it does mess with your mental game a little bit. And some of that negativity does rub off. So you got to know how to tune it out.
It does. You got to tune it out. And sometimes you want to wonder, when people are really, really negative, you're like, dude, are you even enjoying this game? Because you're not getting paid to play.
Exactly.
In fact, you're paying them to play. So
you're right.
What's up, And that's where, again, it's a mind shift, but I think it can work both ways. While that negativity can at least attempt to rub off on you, a little bit of positivity can rub off on the group you're with. Mm-hmm. So even if you're paired up with what's seemingly the most negative group, just a few strategic, words of encouragement or words of positivity, or just keeping a smile on your face can just kind of change the dynamic of that group in a surprising way.
Yeah.
Even just throwing out there, a great shot to somebody or something like that. And you see that with that negativity. Sometimes you tell somebody great shot, be like, yeah, I wish they were, I wish every other shot wasn't bad. And be like, dude, stop and think about that great shot.
Yeah.
At least give that great shot its moment.
Exactly. Where was that drive all day?
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's how about just pausing and giving that its moment? Cause that's why we're out here. We're out here to hit shots like that.
Yes.
So I think that's an important one. And you can be that positive driving force on the group. Another important thing is just remember, things can turn around quickly. One or two great shots, like you were just saying, Mike, can be those confidence boosters you need. But on the other side of that coin, don't let one or two shots be bad shots, I should say, be your primary center focus. And think about this. So many of us have done this. We talk about those milestones you want to hit. Let's say it's breaking 80. And imagine, yourself, you're out there and you feel like you got a great chance to shoot 78 or 79, and you end up 3-putting, the last 2 holes. You miss, short putts on both, and then you card an 80 and you walk away frustrated. Well, here's the thing. It can be a simple mind shift. Rather than being so upset that you didn't break 80 that day, how about being excited for the fact that you positioned yourself and gave yourself a chance? There'll be other chances. Instead of taking that negativity that you just missed your goal and letting that spiral into the next round and the next round because you think something was stacked against you or whatever happened, or here I am, I managed to screw it up. If instead you could say, let me take all the things that went well and use those as building blocks to build on to give myself another shot to break it, then things will change for you pretty rapidly. Yeah. But that's what you want to do is try to switch and say I should be excited. I gave myself a shot at it. I got close. So don't let that one or two mistakes or a couple mistakes take away from the overall positive experience of what happened that day. Mm-hmm. So the power of those shots work both ways. That's for sure.
Yep.
All right. So like I said, negativity, it tends to bond large groups of golfers together, but it really isn't a good thing for everyone's game. It's always fun for us to like I said, and I'm not the person who's going to advocate, taking the joy out of and the fun out of just kind of lamenting sometimes about how difficult this game can be. I think there's a certain degree of camaraderie in that. But what I'm saying is it shouldn't overtake things. You shouldn't be constantly complaining. You should, your mindset should be at least, the majority of the time positive rather than thinking about the negative. And you'll be much better off if you can think about your skills in a positive manner. And I think that we set these these hurdles and these like walls that make it so we can't reach certain levels because we're always expecting to do the same or expecting to play in these bad ways. And we set ourselves back because we're almost like, even when we're playing good, we're expecting the bad is right around the corner. If you could change that and start to think more positively about your skills and your performance and try to think about one good thing on each hole, you're going to find that you're going to start breaking down these mental hurdles towards a better game. And then if you could transition that to other areas of your life, by all means, because I think it works everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing that you said tonight is just stop expecting so much of yourself in this game. I mean, there's a reason your name is Bob and you work in accounting,
right?
And you don't work on the PGA Tour. There's a reason for it. So, I love that you said enjoy it, have fun. You're paying to play, like you said. I mean, go out there and just have a blast and just try to achieve those few things that, like you said, just make you feel great about this game, and for us, for you, for me, I mean, we have a lot of them and we identify them quickly. And I think that's why you and I are improving so fast.
Yeah.
As a result. So I love it. Great topic.
And I certainly don't want to beat it to death, but like I said, enjoy the chase. Enjoy that chase. And,
that should be your phrase, by the way. Enjoy the chase.
It is. Yeah. Right.
You gotta get.
It's true because think about it. If you'll never ever reach the, pinnacle of success in this game because there'll always be something more. It might be that your success point is right now you wanted to break 90 and then you do, but then all of a sudden you have a new goal. It's break 70, or then your new goal might be to win your club championship and then you win it, but your goal might be to win it again next year, or it might be to play in a local amateur qualifier or whatever it may be. There's always going to be something more. There's never going to be that point where you could say, well, I've done it. It's done now.
Right.
Yep. Of course you're going to enjoy the milestones, but trust me, you're always going to set another milestone for yourself. So if you can just enjoy that pursuit and stop making all of your personal reward being tied to the end game and more so tying it to the pursuit, it's going to do wonders for you. No doubt about it.
If there was no pursuit, Tiger would have never came back. I mean, there would have been nothing to come back for. Even for him, there's still a pursuit.
Yeah. Look at this guy. I mean, he's got all the money that he could ever need. He's got the resume that is going to put him always in that conversation of being the best golfer ever. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to prove anything more, but he enjoys it. He enjoys chasing that, whatever he considers his own personal level of greatness. And we can all have our own level of greatness. What's great to you, and pursue it and enjoy it.
Love it.
So I think that's a really important thing. But I want to hear from you guys too. So make sure you let us know. Put it in the comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, put it in the comments below. Otherwise, in the Facebook group, which you can get to by going to Facebook, just search Golficity. Let us know your tips or let us know your stories of how negativity maybe has affected your game or how positivity has affected your game. I want to hear it because we love talking about this through as the week goes on. And I like hearing from you guys as well. So be sure to let us know that. You can also tweet at us. There's a million and one ways for you guys to get in touch with us. But I want to hear it. So make sure you guys do that. And we're going to link to the show notes as always. So you can get to those by going to golficity.com/episode 248, or we always have the show notes and everything in the app, the free Golficity app. It's free for Android and iOS. You can go to golficity.com/app and that'll give you the links right there. It is. Mike's holding it up. So that'll give you the links to download it for free, or you can just search it in the Google Play, the Android store, or the iOS store, and you'll see it there. It's 100% free. I mean, there's not a dime, nothing like that. It's just their way to get all the Golficity content in one place. So as always, we appreciate everybody who tuned in. Thank you for helping us reach that number one spot. Hopefully we can hit it again this week. That was a nice little confidence booster, So great stuff. Stay tuned. Episode 250 is going to be a big one. And if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, jump on there so you get alerts for when we post new videos. And more importantly, when we go live, we're going to be going live next week, and we're going to be announcing that winner of the Vessel Bag giveaway. Another thing that I can't wait to give away. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see everybody again next week.